Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. D.Y. Patel Vidyapit Center for Online Learning. I am Professor Anand, course coordinator for this course, that is Performing Analytics with Python. Learners, in this session we are going to learn about unit number 7, that is Analyzing Web Data. So let's start with this session. Before we start the session, let's look at the agenda for this session. In this session, we are going to cover about introduction to data wrangling. What are the steps of data wrangling, like data cleaning, data transformation and string manipulation. What are the data wrangling tools, emerging trends, and what are the challenges in data wrangling. So let's start with the introduction to data wrangling. What is data wrangling? Data wrangling involves processing the raw data in various formats, like it can be merging, it can be grouping, it can be concatenating, etc. So all these things comes under the term that is data wrangling. So what is the purpose of data wrangling? The purpose of the purpose of data wrangling is to analyze, is to make the data ready for analysis. So for the purpose of analyzing or getting the data ready for to be analyzed, Python has built-in functions. Python has built-in features which can be used on these different data for the purpose of data wrangling. So Python has built-in features to apply these wrangling methods to various data sets in order to achieve the analytical goal. So the objective of data wrangling is to make the data ready to be used for data analysis. That is the main purpose of data wrangling. So when I say a data wrangling includes many methods or many functions, like merging, like grouping, like concatenating, like removing the duplicate values, finding out the outliers. So all these tasks are done under data wrangling, and the sole purpose of data wrangling is to make the data ready for analysis, for the purpose of analysis. So data wrangling is also sometimes called as cleaning the data or data munging, which refers to variety of processes designed to transform the raw data into more readily used formats, and the exact methods that we use for data wrangling will differ from project to project depending on the data that you are using and the goal that you are trying to achieve. So there exist different methods of data wrangling. What methods that we are going to use will depend from project to project, and again it will depend on the what is the goal of your data wrangling. Now let's see some of the objectives of data wrangling. Why data wrangling is being used? Like I said, that data wrangling is also called as merging the data. So if you want to merge multiple data sets or multiple data sources into a single data sheet or into a single data set for analysis, so that can be one purpose of data wrangling, that I want to merge the data from different sources and I want to integrate them into a single data set. So that for that I can use data wrangling. That can be the one objective of data wrangling. Second, to identify the gaps in the data. The gaps can be in the form of the empty cells in the spreadsheets. It can be the duplicate values, it can be the null values. So to identify the outliers, to identify the gaps in the data set and to remove them from the data set, and it can be either filling or deleting them. Like I said, that once you find the empty cells, you can fill the empty cells by using different methods, or else you can simply remove the empty cells. So these are the some of the objectives of data wrangling. In the same way, deleting data that is either unnecessary or irrelevant to the project or to the analysis that you are working on. So, if you want to delete the data which is irrelevant to your project, so for that also I can use data wrangling. Identifying the extreme outliers in the data and explaining the discrepancies or removing them so that the analysis can take place. So, identifying the outliers is again very important, and that can be done by using data wrangling methods. Outliers are the exceptional data. Outliers are the out of range data that you need to identify, and you need to treat the outliers. Otherwise, your data analysis result may not give you the correct predictions or correct output. So, these are the some of the objectives of why I have to use data wrangling. Now, what are the steps in data wrangling? There are multiple steps for performing data wrangling. So, each data project requires a unique approach to ensure its final data is reliable, is accessible and is available. That being said, several processes typically inform the approach. So, these are commonly referred to as data wrangling steps or activities. So, the first step in data wrangling is discovery. Discovery refers to the process of familiarizing yourself with the data so that you can conceptualize how you might use it. You can like it to looking in your refrigerator, just like looking at your refrigerator before cooking a meal to see what ingredients you have at your disposal. So, in the very first step, I am discovering, means what? I am myself conceptualizing with the data so that I can see what are the ingredients, what are the attributes of my data, and with these attributes, with these data, what analysis I can perform. So, in the first step of discovery, I am familiarizing myself with the available data, that is called as discovery. And during discovery, you may identify the trends, you may identify the patterns in the data along with the obvious issues such as the missing values, incomplete values that need to be addressed. And this is an important step as it will inform every activity that comes afterwards. So, the first step is very important, that is a discovery. In that, I am identifying the patterns, I am identifying the trends, I am identifying the missing values, I am identifying the incomplete values, so that I can successfully go to the next step of data wrangling. The second step of data wrangling is structuring the data. That is, raw data is typically unusable in its raw state because it is either incomplete or unformatted for its intended use or application. Data structuring is the process of taking the raw data and transforming it to be more readily leveraged or readily used. The form of data that takes will depend on the analytical model used to interpret. So, here the form of data that you want to take will depend what analytical model that you are going to use it to interpret it. The third step is cleaning the data set. So, it is the process of removing the inherent errors in the data that might distort your analysis or render it less valuable. Cleaning can come in different forms, including deleting the empty cells or empty rows, or removing the outliers and standardizing the inputs. The goal of data cleaning is to ensure that there is no errors, or there are no errors, or as few as possible, that could influence your final result. So cleaning is the process of removing the inherent errors. It can be deleting the rows, deleting the columns, removing the outliers. It can be standardizing your inputs so that the goal of your data, the goal of your analysis will be more and more efficient. The next step is enriching. Once you understand your existing data and have transformed it into a more usable data set, you must determine whether you have all of the data necessary for the project at hand. If not, you may choose to enrich or increment or augment your data by incorporating values from other data sets. So, for this reason, it is important to understand what other data is available for us or for use. So, enriching means adding additional attributes to your data set. So, in this we are adding the additional attributes from other data sets into my data set. So, here I need to first ensure that I have all the ingredients, all the data set, all the attributes of data set in my data. So, if not, then I have to enrich it. If not, I have to extract. If not, I have to get it from the other data sources. So, this is called as enriching the data set. It is by adding the additional features, additional attributes to your data set. That is called as enriching. The next one is validating. Again, this step is very important in data wrangling. Data validating refers to the process of verifying that your data is both consistent and of high value and enough quality as well, and again it is relevant. And during validation, you may discover issues you need to resolve or conclude that your data is ready to be analyzed. Validation is typically achieved through various automated processes and requires the programming as well. So, in validating, we are verifying that my data is both consistent and is of high value enough so that it can be used for analyzing purpose. So, if you decide that enrichment is necessary, you need to repeat the steps above for any new data set. The sixth one is publishing. So, once your data has been validated, once it has been cleaned, now you have to publish it. So, this involves making it available to others within your organization for analysis purpose. And the format you use to share the information, such as the written report or electronic file, will depend on your data and the organization's goal. So, once the data has been validated, the next step is publishing the data so that it is available to others. And for publishing, it can take in a different formats, like it can be in a written report format, it can be in electric file as well. Will depend on what kind of data that you are dealing and the organization's goal. And any analysis a business performs will ultimately be constrained by the data that informs them. If data is incomplete, unreliable or faulty, then analysis will be too diminishing the value of any insights obtained. So, if your data is incorrect, then the insights that you derive from that data is of having no value. Data wrangling seeks to remove that risk by ensuring that data is in a reliable state, is a consistent state before it is analyzed and leveraged, and this makes it a critical part of the analytical process. So, data wrangling is very important from the analytical process point of view, as it makes your data consistent, as it makes your data reliable, so that it can be leveraged further. So, it is important that data wrangling can be time consuming. Of course, it is time consuming and taxing on resources, particularly when done manually. So, it can be done manually and it can be done automatically. So, this is why many organizations institutes the policies and best practices that helps the employees streamline the data cleanup processes. So, for example, requiring that the data include certain information or be in a specific format before it is uploaded to a database. So, of course, the data wrangling process is a time consuming, particularly when it is done manually. So, that is why the organizations nowadays are forming the policies and best practices which will help the employees to streamline the entire data wrangling process. So, for this reason, it is vital to understand the steps of data wrangling process and the negative outcomes associated with incorrect or faulty data. Now, what are the benefits of data wrangling? There are many benefits of data wrangling. Let us look at them one by one. First, data wrangling helps to improve data usability as it converts the raw data into a compatible format for the end system for data analysis. That is the first advantage, that it will make your data, it will convert the raw data to be readily used for analysis purpose. Next advantage, it helps to quickly build the data flows within an intuitive user interface and easily schedule and automate the data flow process. So, if you have performed the data wrangling, then I can readily use that data in my user interface. That is again the second advantage. I can integrate the various types of information and their sources like the database, web services and files, etc., which will help to process the very large volumes of data easily and share the data flow techniques easily. These are the advantages of using data wrangling. Now, what are the tools of data wrangling? There are different tools available or different tools used for data wrangling purpose, for gathering the data, for importing the data, for structuring the data, for cleaning the data. So, before it can be fed into the analytical applications and business intelligence, you must first perform data wrangling. And you can use the automated tools for data wrangling, where the software allows you to validate the data mappings and scrutinize the data samples at every stage, at every step of the transformation process. So, there are many tools available to perform the data analysis automatically. So, this will help to quickly detect and correct the errors in data mapping, and automated data cleaning becomes necessary in business dealings with when you are dealing with large data sets. For manual data cleaning processes, the data teams or the data scientist is responsible for data wrangling, and in smaller setups, however, non-data professionals are responsible for cleaning the data before leveraging it. Some examples of basic data wrangling tools are, let us see them. Spreadsheets that we all familiar with, like Excel Power Query. It is the most basic manual data wrangling tool which is available for data wrangling. Next is the automated tool, that is OpenRefine, an automated data cleaning tool that requires programming skills. Next, Taboola. It is a tool suited for all types of data. Next is a Google Data Prep. It is a data service that explores, cleans and prepares the data. Next is a Data Wrangler. It is a data cleaning and transforming tool. Now, let us see what are the challenges of data wrangling. As there are benefits, again there are some challenges in data wrangling as well. First one is the scalability issue and performance. As your data sets grows larger, its complexity grows larger, then its complexity increases, then the scalability and the performance of data wrangling are questioned. Next challenge is handling the unstructured and semi-structured data. So, this is very difficult when dealing with data wrangling. Handling the unstructured and semi-structured data becomes time consuming and complex at some times. Next challenge is evolving the data sources and formats. So, here like I said that if you want to combine the data sources from different sources into a single source, then there are many challenges, like we are in that case we are evolving, we are facing many data sources. So, again this will this will give you another challenge in data wrangling as well. Again, privacy and security concerns are there. These are the biggest challenges in data wrangling, that is privacy and security concerns as well. Now, let us see some of the trends in data wrangling. What are the new trends, advancements? So, the advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning, advances in AI and machine learning are enabling new automated approaches to the data wrangling. So, because of the machine learning and the artificial intelligence, they are enabling the new automated approaches to the data wrangling, and these approaches can help to reduce the time and the resources required for performing the data wrangling and enables faster and more accurate data analysis. So, this will help the advanced machine learning and AI concepts, AI tools will enabling the new approaches to the data wrangling, resulting in faster data wrangling process and reducing the time and the resources which are used to perform data wrangling. So, with this we come to the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much.